Today is the last day of the book of Exodus, chapter 40. Again, really a long journey throughout the book, great book. And it ends with I guess you would say the consecration of this tabernacle, this tent, this dwelling place for the Lord on earth with the people. Okay, and the previous chapters kind of describes how this tabernacle was going to be built. And you might say, well, why put that in there? Well, there is a reason for it. Like I said yesterday, this tabernacle was meant to represent Mount Sinai, but also there's clues in there that is meant to represent the sixth and the seventh day of creation. Like I said, the seventh day, the rest, was always meant for the covenant, for worship, which again was the overall mission of the book of Exodus, to get the people out of slavery and into the land where God has promised, but for what purpose? The purpose of worship. That's what Moses told Pharaoh. Let my people go so that they may go and worship their God. Okay, this was all about setting up a covenant, a holy people for the purpose of worship. And now this temple, this tabernacle which is a precursor of the temple, is going to be the spot where the worship is going to take place. Why? Well, because the glory of the Lord in that cloud descends upon it. It's where God is. Therefore, that's where we go and worship God. But you have to remember this, very important. And when I, in the fall, kind of present my Jewish roots of the Mass, okay, that's what I'm going to do in both places here as a little study series for the year of the real presence, okay? When we do this, you have to understand that as they were erecting this tabernacle, this tent, and as they were celebrating the liturgical celebrations, which we're going to see tomorrow in the book of Leviticus, it wasn't the end game, okay? Meaning that they were expecting something more. So when we look at their worship, we're going to see it's going to be a memorial of past events. It's going to be a celebration of the current present events of God with them, but also an expectation of something even greater. And I say that because in this dwelling, it tells us that there's a curtain. There's a spot in this tabernacle, a curtain where nobody was allowed to enter, because that's where ultimately God is. So notice like this communion with God and the people is not yet complete. When we get to Jesus, and when we get to his crucifixion, we see in the Synoptic Gospels what happens. That curtain that separated the people from God is now torn from top to bottom. Meaning that people now have an even more intense and intimate communion with God. They can now enter what was divided by that curtain. They can now enter into once the new Lamb, the new Passover, the new Exodus has taken place, what these people are expecting. And so finally, to tie all this into today's feast day, Martha, Martha, you're worried about Mary things. Mary has chosen the better part. What is the better part? The better part is that right in front of our eyes, this communion, this separation was meant to take place between God and the people has now been broken with the incarnation and will be culminated again in his passion, okay, and in his death. But Mary now is gazing at the Lord face to face and listening and taking in all his words to speak. That's what this was waiting for in the book of Exodus. But they acknowledge kind of implicitly that it's not yet complete, that there's still more, that there's still this separation between God and man. But now it is no more. And so Mary knows that, maybe implicitly. She sees that and is listening and is taking it all in. And that's the better part for us as well. Everything that we do and what we worry about, we bring first to prayer. Not that we're not supposed to do it, okay? Martha and her chores have their place. It has to be done. But it all starts with that intimate communion with God, where not only do we speak to God, more importantly, we listen and we let God and his words and his formation come upon us, form us, and shape us. May God bless you.